Hello and welcome to reInvent 2021. I'm Scott Weber, Director in our AWS practice here at PwC and one of our AWS Partner Ambassadors. I'm joined by Justin Goosey, Director and AWS Partner Ambassador as well. Justin, great to be back at reInvent in person.
Feels great. It's awesome. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So Justin, you're a transition, I think, with Adam taking over for Andy. What's your thoughts on how the keynote went this morning?
I think the keynote was great. Adam did an awesome job today. Talked about some really neat new features, services that came out. It's sort of hard to believe that AWS, this is their 15th anniversary. 15 years they've been around, and this is the 10th reInvent. It doesn't seem like it. Time flies by, but it's also really interesting. Adam brought up some key points today. Only 5 to 15% of IT infrastructure is running in the cloud today. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think because we're so close to it and we're in AWS so much that it's striking how little, it's still sort of, to borrow from AWS, that it's still day one, really, for what we can do, what customers are doing in the cloud, and how we can help our customers. And on sort of that numbers of, 15 years of AWS, it's the 11th year that AWS is ranked at number one in Gartner's Magic Quadrant,
right?
For cloud services. So, it's definitely an exciting time to be in this, and there's a lot of things that we can do to help our customers out. But as with any one of these keynotes, it's always about what are some of the new, releases and things that are coming out. And, he talked a little bit today about instance types and the fact that we have 475 different types of instances. I mean, I remember in 2007 when I got introduced to AWS, we had the M1,
yep,
and that was it. And, over the last couple of years, there's been some interesting developments. What is your thought about the new Graviton 3?
Yeah, very exciting to see AWS really evolve the Graviton processor. So their own custom silicon processor. First Graviton came out back in 2018. That was followed the year after by the Graviton 2. So they moved quickly to innovate on that chip. And then this year, the Graviton 3 came out, which is 25% faster than the Graviton 2 processor. So it's exciting to see, as they continue to evolve the chip, what's capable. And along with that came a couple of new instances, the C7G instance,
yep,
and then the new Trainium 1 instance type.
Right. And, I think what's really interesting about these Gravitons is just the numbers behind them. So,
right,
Graviton 2 represented 40% faster than the baseline Intel chips at the time. Now Graviton 2 is faster than Graviton 3 is faster than Graviton 2 is. But what's also, I think, really interesting is the energy efficiency. So, here at PwC, ESG is a big driver for us with our customers. And having a chip that's 60% more energy efficient, I just think that's going to be a huge thing as we help our customers start to develop, energy efficient architectures.
Yeah, it's significant.
And, the other things that they've done with Graviton recently, where now Lambda is on Graviton, right? So it just continues along. How can we be more energy efficient, drive the right architectures for our customers?
Yep. And speaking of energy efficiency, the topic of mainframes came up today. Some new services around mainframe modernization. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's sort of interesting to go from like super efficient chips to sort of the dinosaurs, if you will, of technology with these mainframes. It was welcome to see it. I think a year or so ago, we saw the mainframe competency come out. But now AWS is bringing a suite of services to the table to help customers really understand how can you start to migrate away from these very old technology systems into cloud native and become more efficient, enable agility into your business. And we've been working with some of our customers on, what does it mean to get off of that mainframe, modernize off of that mainframe. So with AWS bringing out these new suite of tools, I think it's really going to help accelerate that. And I think it's going to be a big win for AWS customers in general.
Yeah.
Moving on, we saw some interesting announcements around networking. And so Justin, you're my go-to guy on networking. Talk a little bit, what are your thoughts on this whole 5G push now from AWS?
Yeah, right. So today there was an announcement that, now you can kind of run your own 5G private network, through AWS's service portfolio. So I think this is kind of in the same vein as some of the other offerings that came out around wavelengths, for example, running compute at the edge of the cellular network. Ground station came out a few years ago. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how customers are going to be able to use this new 5G private network capability to extend, some of the things that they can do, whether it's IoT or, through mobile devices. It's really, really neat, and I'm excited to see what's possible.
Yeah, I want to dive into that one a little bit more. I mean, the networking, it's going to be interesting to see what really comes out with this 5G stuff.
Yeah, from what I understand, AWS makes it very easy that you can provision a 5G private network in just a few days. So really cool stuff.
Yeah, very.
We were talking a little bit about mainframes, and then on the data side of things, came up the topic of data lakes, right? There were some new feature releases around lake formation, for example. What were your thoughts on some of those new capabilities around lake formation?
Yeah, he talked a lot about governance, and as we help our customers make these moves into AWS with their data governance, there hasn't really been a magic bullet on how to do that. And when lake formation first came out, we had sort of column level controls, but they announced today that now we can have row and actually cell level access controls to data setting in our lake. And that's big, right? Because now we can really get to fine-grained access control that we want. Also around the data lake space, we saw some enhancements or refinements to some key product offerings from AWS. And bringing forward, continuing down this path of like reducing your infrastructure maintenance burden by going to serverless. So 4 key data services today were announced as in a serverless model. So we have Redshift, we have Kinesis, we have the managed Kafka service, and EMR. And I know you have some experience trying to help customers with EMR. I mean, what's your thought about this idea of serverless EMR?
I'm very excited about it. There's a lot that comes with managing an EMR cluster. And while AWS has done a great job of making that process as seamless as possible, making it serverless now takes a huge burden off. You don't have to manage the infrastructure anymore.
Yep.
And I think there's a lot of customers that are going to benefit from this new capability.
Yeah. So they sort of ended today, talking about Sagemaker and AI and ML. I know we're going to have another one of these after the keynote on AI and ML, but just briefly, what was your thoughts on the Sagemaker announcements today?
Yeah, so today they announced the new service Sagemaker Canvas, which essentially makes it easy for anybody to start using Sagemaker machine learning services. I think this is just another step towards that direction of, you don't need to necessarily be an expert or hold a PhD in machine learning to be able to use AWS services. They make it very easy for you to use, and anyone can get started using it. So I think it's another great step in the right direction from AWS.
Ah, very cool. Well, I think that about covers everything that we saw at the keynote today that we wanted to discuss. And look, it's still early in reInvent week. We're going to have 2 more of these video sessions after the AI and ML keynote tomorrow, and then after Werner's keynote on Thursday. So, Justin, thank you for the time.
Thanks, Scott. Yeah, this is great.
Yep. Thank you, everyone.